Why is the shopping cart always in the top right of the screen?
How do companies predict my purchases?
Why do prices end in 9?
Why do fast food companies use red and yellow in their logos?
Why do restaurants always have one expensive menu item?
Researchers, marketers, and very curious people seek the answers for how we make decisions and how we choose products. Clicksuasion finds the secrets that companies use and shares them with you.
Why do I feel better when I bought the last remaining airline ticket?
How do I make choices based on colors and fonts?
Welcome back to the Clicksuasion podcast. This is Michael Barbera from Clicksuasion Labs, Pinehurst, North Carolina. This episode, we're going to talk about marketing trends for 2020. Now imagine that you're driving down the street, you come across a gas station, and the gas station sign says fuel 95 cents per gallon. How are you going to react? Most people would jerk that steering wheel, pull into the gas station, and fuel up even if they only needed 1 gallon of gas. Some people would respond and say they're going to buy some fuel cans and then fill up some fuel cans for the future. So you're pumping your fuel, the fuel is done, you hang up the pump on the machine, and then the little screen says, "See cashier for receipt." How do you respond? Well, most people would be angry or upset that they have to walk 40 or 50 feet to receive a receipt. So what happened here in the span of a few minutes, we were excited about a product or a brand and then disappointed in a product or a brand, all before we ever used the product, the fuel. So this is the kind of scenario we want to avoid in 2020 and beyond with our marketing trends. We want to provide a phenomenal customer or user experience in every engagement possible. So that brings us to this year's marketing trends. And what we do is you can Google top marketing trends for 2020 and beyond and any kind of keyword like that. And you're going to get a list of 50 things, the top 40 things you could do for marketing in 2020. We've narrowed down the list to only 5 items. And the reason why is because we want to apply behavioral science to those 5 items, and we know how we can apply psychology to marketing and have a significant return on investment. So before we get to 2020, we need to talk about how we got here. In 2019, the 4 top items for marketing in 2019 were video marketing. We might see that again shortly. Keeping it local, talking about how capitalizing on local customers and local engagement has a significant return on investment. Using social media to connect. Now, social media isn't going anywhere, so let's not say it's not important. It definitely is important because it is an engagement tool between you and your audience. And then we transitioned from a mobile-friendly environment to a mobile-first. Your customers, your clients, your vendors, your peers, when they engage with you, they're going to their phone. They're not pulling their laptop out. They're going to a mobile device. So we are mobile-first, not mobile-friendly. All right, so when looking at the top trends for marketing in 2020, we use neuroscience constructs, behavioral science constructs, and we're applying these variables to how we can build a positive relationship and capitalize on current trends with applied psychology in 2020 and beyond. So for 2020, here are the 5 things that we're focusing on. Number 1, audience engagement. Number 2, video marketing. It's still going to be around. Influencer marketing. Number 4, voice search. And number 5, artificial intelligence. All right, let's talk through number 1, audience engagement. Why? Well, it's not just about catching people's attention in 2020. It's about keeping their attention throughout the entire buying process. The average person will see 30,000 brand impressions every day. In front of me right now, I have a sticky note that says, or has the New York Yankees branding on it. I see a colleague's business card. I see Google Sheets and Google Analytics. I see Google's inbox. I see the Apple for an iPad, and there's hundreds of more brands around me right now. Now, most people don't have the resources to give every one of these brands $1, so maintaining communication or contact. Now, we like to use the word two-way communication. If you're in business to business, then two-way communication is important. So let's say you're in consulting where you might have 17 to 23 touch points before a consumer or client is willing to trust your brand to engage with you. Before you can even count touch point number 1, you have to have two-way engagement, or else none of those touch points before two-way engagement matter. you have to start all over again. Two-way engagement, two-way communication is vital for B2B sales and gaining clients. Now, when it comes to B2C, you don't need two-way communication. You need perceived two-way communication. And that is the perception that there is a linkage or a connection between the consumer and the brand. So the benefits of audience engagement include, relating to your business. Your customers can relate to another person better than another business or your business. So we want to put a business in a similar situation or to be perceived as a friend, just like your friends are. Also, with audience engagement, it's important to identify which channel is best. And there are countless channels to engage. And here at Clicksuasion Labs, we always recommend to engage with the client or the prospect on the channel that is best appropriate for them. So, as a business leader, you're leading a marketing team or a sales team, you might have 25 people in the funnel, and all 25 people want to communicate in a different way or on a different channel. Well, that's taxing to a marketing or sales team. But if the value per client is significant enough, it'll outweigh the work that gets put into it. So your resources can benefit. So if you are a B2C company, obviously it's not beneficial probably to put that many resources into it, but you can still contact individuals in a personalized format digitally, whereas you have an impact for perceived two-way communication. And then also, we want to engage with our audience and build trust. Because if we were to put every consumer decision-making variable into a funnel and work our way to the bottom, the one remaining at the bottom is going to be trust. How likely is a consumer willing to trust you? How likely is a consumer willing to trust your brand? And we have several different measurements here at the lab for measuring trust. And one of those is how willing is someone to wear your brand on their person. So for example, say you go to a conference and you get that conference goodie bag. Well, in that goodie bag, you have brochures, pens, and then you have this t-shirt for one of the sponsors. Where are you likely to wear that t-shirt? Most people would say, I'm wearing it to bed, because you don't trust that brand to wear it in public. So at what point do you say, you know what, at least cognitively in a micro moment, I trust this brand enough to wear it in public and represent it on my body? You have a backpack that might have a brand name on it. You might wear a t-shirt or a hoodie with your favorite sports team. You might even wear a t-shirt or a hoodie of a college that a friend, colleague, or relative has attended, but you've never been to. So there's still that perceived connection. That's what we want to build. We want to build the trust where the person is willing to represent your brand in public, which is not so much word of mouth, but visual word of mouth. User-generated content is a great way for audience engagement because you're getting the audience to communicate with the audience, whereas that perception is there's a connection between the brand. So if it's taxing to get the business or the brand to communicate with every single customer, with user-generated content, you can give the perception that one person or one customer is an influencer and acts on behalf of the organization. So us as consumers, we are more likely to take recommendations from our peers and friends more so than from a business. So if using user-generated content in our marketing, it's likely to give the perception that there's social proof. Other people are using it, so I want to use it too. Lush Cosmetics used a campaign to influence their customers to share the way they use their products on social media, and that was a successful campaign for them. So some actionable takeaways for audience engagement. Number one, personalization. Personalize as much as you can. The more you personalize it, the more perceived two-way communication you'll have, the more perceived trust you'll receive. Because when we open an email, when I say we, I'm talking about most people. We open an email, we can immediately identify if that email was crafted for us or if it was copied and pasted to a large number of people. And the words that are chosen and the way that's communicated does tell a story. So you don't want to come off as this was sent to everyone. If you are personalizing your content, whether it be one-on-one content or one-on-many, you're giving the perception that you care and you're in for it. And then so, checking in with your customers and building that relationship. Show that you care, show that other people are using it, engage with them, give them ideas of other ways they can use the product other than the way they're currently using it or the way they intend it. And that goes through video. I'm going to talk through video in a little bit, but by showing different ways they can use the brand, they're more likely to continue using the brand because there's multiple ways you can use it. If we were to purchase a crock pot, it might come with a recipe book because you might have 3 or 4 recipes that you know or always go to with the crock pot. But if they're giving you 6 other ways to use this, you're more than likely to use their brand and buy from their brand in the future. No different than Campbell's Soup. Campbell's Soups offers recipes on the back of their cans, or you can go to campbells.com. In fact, green bean casserole was created by the Campbell Soup Company, and it is now a popular dish all throughout North America. Well, green bean casserole calls for the use of cream of mushroom soup in the recipe. So if you love this new recipe, you're going to continue to buy Campbell's cream of mushroom soup to use in it, therefore more revenue and more brand engagement the for Campbell's or your brand. So asking for feedback is really important as well too. And so it's easy to say we're going to send out a survey. Go ahead and complete the survey and get a feedback. That's we're trying to extract information from our customers. That a survey is good, but let's keep it short. A better way to ask for feedback is to let's gamify it. In the 1990s, when the M&M's corporation needed to create a new color or wanted to create a new color M&M, they didn't take to a survey. They didn't take to a lab and think, well, which color are our audience more likely to use? Instead, they put it to a vote. Vote for the newest color. And so, if you're not aware, blue was the color that won approximately 30 years ago. And most people remember this. And so, what's so important about this is that the customer says, you know what? M&M cares about my opinion, so I'm going to vote. And although say you didn't choose blue, say your color wasn't chosen as the finalist or the winner, you're still more than likely to buy the product because the company cared enough to ask for your input and actually act on it. Although they might have chose blue over the color that you chose or voted on, they still reviewed your option as a viable path forward. So now you have some buy-in with the company and you feel like you have a relationship. And also in audience engagement, we want you to be the guide, not the hero. It's easy to say, we're the expert, you're the expert, take the client from point A to point B, you're the expert, take the customer all the way through the shopping experience. Well, in Star Wars, Yoda was the Master Jedi, the person that everyone looked up to and most Jedis wanted to emulate. So if Yoda was so powerful and so knowledgeable, why was there a need for Luke Skywalker? Luke Skywalker could have not been in the story. Yoda could have taken care of everything that Luke did. So in this situation, Yoda is the guide. Yoda teaches Luke Skywalker how to use the Force and to defeat the Empire. We want your brand to be Yoda. We want you to guide your customers. We want you to guide your clients through the use of your product or services and through the entire buying process. As being the guide, you're showing that I'm not being pushy or shoving. We're letting you use this product any way you want, and we support you. We're going to give you the tools, but you're smart enough and knowledgeable enough and powerful enough to conquer it on your own. Tactical tagging is a great way as well too. User-generated content. When someone posts information on the internet or social media about your business, get involved, tag them, respond. Wendy's is a phenomenal example of a social media platform that engages with their customers. Now, if you follow Wendy's on Twitter, you might know them for roasting their competitors and having fun, but they'll have fun in many different ways. If you look at who Wendy's follows on Twitter, they only follow 12 handles. They follow all 5 original Spice Girls and 7 people named Herb. And if you don't get it, it's 7 Urban Spices, the formula for KFC's recipe. So user-generated content is a great way to go because these people are acting as your marketing team, your customers, and your influencers all at once. Let's talk about video. So video was a top trend in 2019, and it's not going anywhere. It's because as Americans, we're lazy and we just don't want to read. If I was to present you with a few paragraphs, you're not going to read all 3 paragraphs. You're going to scroll through them. You're going to skim, pick out some keywords, and then move on about your day. You'll get a general understanding of what the conversation is about, but you couldn't tell the story back in a detailed manner because we're not attentive to reading. Video captures the attention. So we always want to have video content, and some of the reason why is because it automatically plays. We have the ability to make it automatically play. When a video automatically plays, it grabs our attention for between 3 to 5 seconds. After that, it's up to the content to gain our attention further beyond that. So if the video can capture the consumer's attention beyond 5 seconds, we have a win. The customer is likely engaged or they're enjoying the content. Now you have another brand impression. For the videos that don't autoplay, this is a challenge because the that small quarter of an inch tap, the quarter of inch distance between the tip of your finger and your mobile device is too far for a person to press down and tap on a screen to hit play. So it's vital for videos to autoplay. Personalizing videos is great as well. So it's sometimes in B2C where it's one on many, it's not beneficial to personalize a video to every single customer who might buy a $5 book. So there's less of a return on investment. When you're looking at B2C, there is a much greater return on investment for personalizing videos or recording videos, say using Loom or Drift in recording videos and sending videos and emails. The benefits of video include rising above the noise. As I mentioned before, there's 30,000 brand impressions every day. What makes yours stand out? A video to connect and watch and learn is great because most people, when they're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, it's because there's some time available when they're between other important tasks and they need some time to kill some time and scroll. But then there's YouTube. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. Then there's YouTube where people are willing to stay on YouTube longer and they're more likely to accept longer videos. We want to be educated and educate us how to use your product or to engage. So let's say you are the business manager for a distillery outside of Louisville, Kentucky. You make bourbon. Now, you obviously know most people might drink bourbon straight, might drink it on the rocks, or might have it with some soda. However, there's many other ways you can consume bourbon. So creating a video saying, here's 3 new recipes we crafted at our distillery and show the 3 new ways you can use that product. Because the more ways you give the consumer to engage, the more likely they are to engage in the future. Now, the video channels for 2020, we're recommending, I'm going to say 2.5, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, and then the half is going to be Facebook and Instagram. I say half is because they're 2 in 1. So really it's YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, because when you post to Instagram, you can simultaneously post to Facebook and vice versa. So let's start with YouTube. So we know that the majority of internet users are using YouTube for entertainment, for education, for learning about items. We know that more than 1 billion hours are watched daily. We know that when customers want to learn about a product or a service or more about a brand, we go to YouTube. We want to watch unboxing videos. We want to watch people talk about their reviews. We want to watch people use that lawnmower, and we can get our own opinion based upon our peers and make a decision for ourselves if we want to go ahead and buy that same lawnmower. Instagram stories are absolutely hot. These are the way to go for 2020 and possibly beyond. Let's see how it goes for the next 12 months, and we'll make a decision moving forward. But Instagram stories are great. And it's not so much as just creating a story, it's creating relevant stories that relate to your audience and their behavior. Additionally, how-to posts on Instagram are the most popular posts on Instagram by engagement. So if you want to get engagements, when I'm talking likes and comments, how-to posts are the way to go. And then on Instagram, 85% of the video is watched without sound. So how is your content designed to be played or viewed without sound? It's important to have sound, but also to have get that same message across without sound. Now, the outlier in this room is going to be TikTok. So TikTok is fairly new. It's growing in popularity. It's getting a lot of users, but the long-term ROI is unknown. So the verdict is out, and here's why. I'm going to give a pro and a con. The advantage to getting on TikTok early is that when you get on a new social media platform early, you're likely to gain more followers, get a foothold, and have an influence in that channel. Now, the downside is that we don't know how TikTok will fare in 12, 18, 24, 36 months from now. How many resources are proper to put into TikTok at this time before we know what the return on investment looks like? So we recommend to take a look into it, match it to your strategy, and identify if there's a beneficial return on investment, and then proceed with caution. So then let's talk about the behaviors per channel. So on Facebook, Facebook's about updates. It's what's new, what's happening in the world. We're on the go, we're on mobile, and we have limited time, and we don't want to listen to audio. So we're just going to scroll. We'll come across a video, we'll watch it without audio, and move on about our day. What's happening now? What's happening now? The news, the updates, that's Twitter. We're going to tweet about all the stuff that's happening right now. So we know that people go to Twitter every day to engage with the news, what's happening. If you were to come across trending on Twitter, Tom Hanks, the first thing we think is, oh no, Tom Hanks died, because it is in the right now and what is happening. The current, what's interesting is going to be your Instagram. That is what's interesting right now. So we're hanging out on Instagram, we're killing time. Audio, it goes both ways in audio. Some people like to listen to audio on Instagram, some people don't. The place where you capitalize on your audio is in your IGTV. This is your place where you're going to capitalize on audio going forward in 2020. And most activity and behavior in Instagram is going to be your scrolling and your swiping. So then you have your YouTube, which is the powerful platform here where most business should be capitalizing. And this is what's to learn. Consumers are engaged. They're actively listening. They don't have that on the background. They're watching the video. They're engaged. They're learning. They're taking notes. You've got their attention. If someone tells you, I've got a 10-minute Facebook video I want you to watch, you're going to get some awkward facial expressions, and this person is probably not going to want to watch a 10-minute Facebook video. But if you say you have a 10-minute YouTube video to watch, the reaction is maybe not the most positive, but more positive than on Facebook. And people are willing to watch. And audio, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Audio is a huge factor in YouTube. Make sure you have good audio and you are communicating to your audience. So the 4 types of videos that we can create that's popular for 2020 is going to be: number 1, entertainment; 2, educational; 3, promotional; and 4, storytelling. I'm a little biased towards storytelling because if you tell a good story, you will capture someone's attention. Promotional is my least favorite of the 4 because if you try to sell someone, that relationship turns into a transaction. At the first time you try to sell someone something, they now have the perception that you are a business and all you want is their money, and that friendship or that relationship begins to decrease. Education and entertainment are absolutely phenomenal. We want to learn stuff. We want to be entertained. Entertainment could be its own category for 2020, but it's probably going to be its own category for 2021. Consumers want to be entertained. We want to laugh. We want to cry. We want to have fun with our brands. We don't want to be sold anything. So if you can make your clients laugh, cry, share, have physical emotions with your brand, you've won the entertainment game. So actionable takeaways for video are: let's determine what our goals are. Number 1, are we going for social proof? Because the most persuasive thing we can do is show that other people are doing it too. Number 2, are we going for conversions? They're always important. Number 3, are we going to educate? I would say go for all 3, but if you can show social proof and educate your consumers and entertain them, the conversions will follow. For engagement, we recommend test your videos without audio. This is going to show where you're lacking in the engagement piece. And then, of course, you want to have specific content for every channel. Although it's okay to post the same video to Twitter, to YouTube, to Facebook, to Instagram, but don't do that for every video. You want to have unique content for specific platforms, because say you have a loyal fan on Twitter and that same loyal fan also follows you on Facebook. Well, when they engage with that same video on Twitter, they're less likely to engage with it on Facebook. And they're less likely to engage with your brand on the other platform because it's the same content. Now, if they're seeing different content per platform, they're more likely to engage, and you're going to increase your return on investment per user and user-generated content. All right, let's talk about the influencer marketing. Why is this important? Well, obviously, social proof is important. This is someone who we like to get advice from, someone we like to trust. And I'll say it again: trust, trust, trust. We look at that behavioral funnel, and the last variable at the bottom is going to be trust. If we don't trust a brand, we're not likely to buy from them. If we don't trust an influencer, we're not likely to take advice. So we put it into a Venn diagram. We put one circle on the left, we put our consumers. We put one circle on the right, things that they love to do and they engage with. And in the middle, who is the person that meets both of those categories? And that could be our influencer. It could be a celebrity. It could be a prior customer. It could be a current customer. It could be an employee. It could be an expensive engagement. It could be a pro bono engagement. So the influencer you choose doesn't have to be a Kardashian. It doesn't have to be a celebrity. It could be someone who has engaged with your product and is willing to share your story with their audience. And so the benefits include reaching that influencers' audience. Gaining trust into their audience is significant because their audience is likely to buy from you. You want to choose an influencer who has an audience that's likely to buy from you, and then sharing that message with them is shared trust. So actionable takeaways for influencer marketing is number one, let's decide if influencer marketing is right for our audience. What is your audience activity on Instagram, and who does your audience trust, and who do they relate to? So for example, American Express use influencer marketing with the Shop Small campaign or Small Business Saturday. So this is a large thing across the United States. And this is all created by American Express to increase small businesses' willingness to use American Express. So we talk about the Drew Brees effect. Well, Drew Brees, at the age of 38 years old, signed a $50 million contract with the New Orleans Saints. 38 years old, doesn't throw hard, doesn't run fast. Why is he worth $18.25 million annually after taxes? Well, Drew Brees might not bring a Super Bowl to New Orleans at the age of 39 or 40. He's getting pretty close. However, he is worth every penny because the fans who are customers trust him. They'll buy his jersey, they'll go to the games, they'll fly to New Orleans, they'll spend a weekend in New Orleans, and they will support the team because they trust him and they have a perceived connection with Drew Brees. All right, let's talk about artificial intelligence. So AI is significant. Now, most people who are managing small teams or small businesses are likely to be overwhelmed when the term artificial intelligence arises. So you can code your own AI. You can get a team to develop a backend for what you want to do. But so much of AI is productized and it's easy to use in a user-friendly manner. So why is it important? Well, consumers have time limitations. They might not want to call you. They don't want to call you. They're not going to call you. They want to talk to you, but they don't want to hear your voice. So they want to have a perceived engagement with you. They want to talk to Sarah on the chatbot or a conversational text where it might not be Sarah, but it's so believable that they're willing to accept it. It also improves employee productivity, whereas you can put more efforts elsewhere where you once had employees working on certain projects. So you can enhance the entire organization's productivity by including AI in certain areas. The benefits are personalized engagement. Think about when you are shopping on your favorite website and the website says, well, people who recently put this item in their cart also bought these 5 items. So this is good machine learning AI at its best. Maybe not at its best, but it's a good start for retail. Where AI and ML is going is a phenomenal place, and where we wind up, who knows? We'll see. Other areas of personalized engagement is also going to include when you're engaging with brands. We're going to talk about Starbucks in a little bit and how they apply it. They apply voice and artificial intelligence. But when you walk past your favorite store, do you get a notification for using their app or shopping at their store? So this is geofencing. It's all matches your behavior, and then once you have some other behavior involved as well too, the logic's going to change and reflect your behavior. So you're having a more engaged relationship with the brand, and the brand did nothing but write some code. So relevant content's important, and I want to pause for a moment and say that everything we do here at the lab has to meet 3 criteria. It has to be 1, relevant, 2, actionable, and 3, sustainable. We have to be able to put this into action and use it. Then it has to be relevant for what we're working on, what the goal is, and then 3 has to be sustainable. And the sustainable piece is really important because we've gone to many academic conferences and we listen to really smart people present some research and they'll say, if you do X, Y, and Z with your retail, this is what's going to happen. Like, okay, you know what? That looks really cool. You know what? That probably would work. You would affect the consumer. You would increase X. You would improve A. But then when you start putting finances behind it, then looking at the economics of this recommendation, it's not going to work. It's not sustainable. So everything has to be actionable, relevant, and sustainable. So actionable takeaways for AI include, so should you create your own chatbot, which is also productized? You don't have to go out and code your own. You can if you want to. Or use a social chatbot. Facebook allows you to modify the logic on Facebook Messenger so you can engage, or your customers can engage with your brand using AI on Facebook. So also new leads with two-way pursuit. I can't even say that. New leads. AI will get you new leads with perceived two-way communication, because if you visit a website and a chatbot or conversational text pops up, you might not have been willing to chat with anybody, but you were going to go search 6 pages for the content you wanted. Now you can ask and you'll have the answer almost immediately. So the benefits are, number one, a positive user experience. We always want to make sure that the customer is happy and engaged with your brand. Number two is data collection. Everything you get from AI is going to tell you a story. So let's say over the course of the next 90 days, 25 people engage with your chatbot. Of those 25 people, 10 of them have filled out the first sentence and said, I'm looking for a blue dress. And then all their conversation stops. Well, that tells us something. That tells us, why are people who are looking for blue dresses falling out of the funnel at the specific spot? Without AI being included in your website, we may not have known that. We may not have known that this blue dress was as popular as it was. So this data collection for engaging with your consumers tells a story and something we can capitalize on in the future. Now, the last trend for 2020 that we want to capitalize on is a voice strategy. So most people have a voice assistant in their home or on their phone, whether it be Siri, Alexa, or Google. And so by the end of 2020, we predict that 50% of all internet searches will be via voice, and 62% of those are likely to result in a purchase. So your search engine optimization, your SEO, should be in spoken language. So right now we're using some SEO to reflect restaurant near me, steak near me, steak restaurant, date night, and using all these terms for a restaurant. But now when we speak to Siri or Alexa or Google, we don't say, hey, Google, find me steak date night near me. That's just not how we talk. We say, hey, Google, find me a great restaurant for a date. And they'll give you some recommendations. So a great place to hide some of this text is in the alt text of your photos and videos. You can do this on your website as well as social media. Use the alt text section to add your spoken word keywords, whereas the voice assistants will pick this up. Additionally, we need to capitalize on local engagement, because most people use their voice assistants for businesses that are local, not ones that are far away. So this gives you an advantage to capitalize on your local geographic area now, before voice SEO becomes overwhelming and challenging. Get a jump in first and be the first to market with your voice SEO. This includes in the mobile first strategy, and it's a way to reach new customers faster. So Starbucks uses voice and AI. So if you were to walk past or drive past a local Starbucks and you have the Starbucks app downloaded onto your mobile device, a notification will pop up and tell you that there's a Starbucks nearby. Also, so that's using AI. And now with voice, you can say, hey, Alexa, order me my favorite Starbucks beverage from the closest Starbucks near me. In one sentence, you now have a Starbucks. The pain of paying is removed, and you are now able to purchase your favorite item and pick it up from the closest one. You can also say, order my favorite beverage from my favorite Starbucks, and it'll be ready for you in a few moments. That's all it takes to make a purchase. So Starbucks is using voice and AI to capitalize on trends and how consumers are behaving in 2020 and beyond. So the actionable takeaways for voice are: one, search your own organization on voice devices. If you work for Microsoft, say, tell me how to find the nearest Microsoft office, and see what pops up. Maybe Google will fight you on that. Optimize your keywords for spoken word. Use that alt text, and then location. Many people use voice assistants like Google to say, hey, Google, give me directions to fill in the blank. So make sure that your address is on Google Maps, Bing, Waze, etc. Wherever there's a map platform, make sure that your business is located on it for your voice SEO. So those are the 5 marketing trends for 2020 that Clicksuasion suggests based upon behavioral science and behavioral economics. We wish you good luck, happy hunting and conquering the world. Let us know your questions, and we're more than happy to answer. For Clicksuasion Labs, this is Michael Barbera, Pinehurst, North Carolina.
Thanks for listening to Clicksuasion. Subscribe to the podcast, read our research, and get in touch with us at clicksuasion.com. You can also find us on Twitter with the handle @Clicksuasion.